Greetings, upstanders. Dr. O here. And remember the 2016 campaign when Trump was the Access Hollywood video, and Trump was talking about he can grab women by, grab women in the private area, and then talk about other things. And one of the things he was saying to the Bush was that, when you're a celebrity or when you're famous, they let you do it. He was talking about because he's famous, he can go up there and basically just, start kissing women, do whatever he wants. And that's just been ringing a lot in my head as of late when I watch what Trump has been doing. When I and as well when I watch what his followers have been doing and other members of MAGA. And the fact of the matter is, if Trump wasn't giving them racism, they wouldn't stick with him. I mean, look at what's happening right now in the economy. Economy is tanking. I'm watching these farmers in Washington, Arkansas, and other places, and they're talking about how they're struggling. Are they going to have to close their doors? How this might be their last harvest, and so on and so forth. Yeah, we know that Trump's going to bail them out just like he did in 2018 as well. And I keep thinking, it's like he's not even giving you the economy, which, was a so-called one of the reasons y'all said y'all voted for him. He's destroying the economy, destroying, close USAID. Like, where were the farmers when USAID was closing, right? Were they complaining and not realizing? Did they not realize that a lot of their food that they grow goes to places like USAID? But now that he's tanked the economy again, and these guys are still standing by him, when you watch interviews with like Alex Wagner and Trumpland and her podcast and various places like that, they talk about all of these reasons why the economy's struggling, why they're struggling. They'll talk about Biden era policies. They'll talk about, woke people saying that they need to fix their manufacturing and so on and so forth. But they stick with Trump. It's not him. It's someone else, because he's giving them everything else that they want, which is that racism. And it's not just him. Everybody is more emboldened now to get out here and speak. Did you hear what Missouri Senator, Eric Schmidt said? He in his speech at NatCon, the National Conservative Conference. I mean, this guy, what else could he say that could make you realize that this is a white supremacist nativist mindset? He says America is not a universal nation. It is something distinctive, unique, and real, unlike any other place in the history of mankind. Western civilization was defined by its restless, relentless, dynamic spirit to drive, create, explore, and discover that spurred the West to the heights of political, intellectual, and technological achievement unmatched by any other civilization in human history. America was settled, founded, and built by the most adventurous, the most courageous, the most curious and innovative and risk taking sons and daughters of the West. Last time I checked, much of America was built by enslaved black people. Universities, streets, the Capitol, White House, like all of these places, that was black labor. I look at the railroad, I believe that they were Chinese people who were brought in to do that. This idea, right? Our country is in this important sense the most essentially Western nation. For our settlers ancestors, the American frontier stretched out as a horizon of infinite possibility. It was here on this continent that the West realized its destiny. I'm going to go on a little bit more. This, my friends, is why every great feat in the modern world bore American fingerprints. And then he runs down all of these things that Americans done, right? And he says, this is who we are. We're a nation of settlers, explorers, and pioneers, born on the ocean waters that carry the first ships to our shores and forged in the crucible of a wild frontier. Our people tamed a continent. Who did you tame? We're talking about indigenous people? That's what it sounds like to me. Built a civilization from the wilderness, because there was nothing here but wild animals and wild people, right? And wrote our nation's name in history. We Americans are the sons and daughters of the Christian pilgrims that poured out from Europe's shores to baptize a new world in their ancient faith. Our ancestors were driven here by destiny, like manifest destiny, which is a racist concept, right? Possessed by urgent and fiery conviction, by burning belief devoted to their cause and their God. All nations die, but people will continue to believe America because it's great. Where's the last part I wanted to read? The people who built our country were not villains, they were heroes. We can no longer apologize for who we are, right? But check this out. I'm a Missouri boy. I'm a Missouri boy, born and raised. I'm from the state where Lewis and Clark launched their expedition, where Jesse James lived and Daniel Boone died. Jesse James, y'all. Like Jesse James, who was, a Confederate army member, that's who you're claiming, right? This is what they're doing. They're putting it out there, and this is coming from a U.S. senator, from a United States senator, right? The frontier was an legend. Finish this. Oh, here, check this out. Now, this is interesting. My ancestors arrived here, they're from Germany in the 1840s during the first real wave of new European settlers since Missouri became a state in 1821. Back then, was Missouri was as far west as you could go. 1840s, as Nicole Hannah Jones reminds us, the last people who were brought here from slavery, legally, was in 1908, right? So what are you talking about here? I'm sorry, 1808. Excuse me, quick correction here. Um, by the 1840s, majority of black folks who were here were born here in this country, but it's like they still don't count. You come here as from immigrants, right? But this is still yours. But because it's German immigrant, right? It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different when it's German. This is what we're talking about here, y'all. This is what we're talking about. He goes down the list. He goes down the list, and there's just so many problems with what he's saying that people need to really understand that he is out in the open with it. And there's some other parts of the speech that he talks about. This country was built for us. It was built for us. This country was not built for anybody else. It was built for us. And when this type of language is used and it's not condemned, we have people running rampant with their racism, and it starts from the top with Trump. It starts from the top with Trump. And this is who we are as a society right now. But because these guys are giving these people racism, it's like they'll let the economy continue to tank. They'll let the economy continue to be destroyed, and they'll let all other parts of America fall as long as whiteness prevails. And I think that people need to be ready to understand that. Here's the part I was looking for. He says, when they tear down our statues and monuments, what monuments have been torn down other than Confederate monuments? Mark our history and insult our traditions. They are attacking our future as well as our past. By changing the stories we tell about ourselves, hey Smithsonian, they believe they can build a new America with the new myths of a new people. Come on, y'all. And somebody, come on. But America does not belong to them. It belongs to us. It's our home. It's a heritage entrusted to us by our ancestors. It is a way of life that is ours and only ours. And if we disappear, this is talking about the browning of America, right? The fear that white people are going to be the not in the majority by the year 2043 or something like that. And only ours. And if we disappear, then America too will cease to exist. This is what I'm saying, y'all. This is what I'm saying. This is where we are. Look at Trump's policies. All of the immigration raids, the removing of black and brown history, the everything, the rewriting of history at the Smithsonian, working with organizations like PragerU, which is not an accredited university, as it proudly admits, to make propaganda videos that make slavery look like it wasn't all that bad. If these guys, who are many of them are incompetent, broken individuals who are not strong, the Hegseths of the world, the Stephen Millers of the world, if these guys did not give white supremacy and not give many of these voters and these Americans white supremacy, they would have nothing left to offer. But apparently that is enough, because when you're racist, they let you get away with it. There's nobody in this economy who wasn't already rich that is doing better under Trump. You're just not. That's just a fact. So that's not the case. Your school's not doing better under Trump. Your air is not nicer under Trump. Like it's not happening. But what you'll get, Christopher Columbus history, and that's pretty much it, and that's enough. As you watch your environment deteriorate, as you watch the water get dirtier, and the air get dirtier, what is because of white nationalism, that survival of the fittest, you'll be able to survive as long as everybody else suffers. It's all good. Like when will people wake up? When will people wake up? If Trump wasn't talking about Thai apocalypse now, and he wasn't talking about, waking up to the smell of deportations and not deporting any of the more than 500,000 white immigrants who are here in this country, not getting any of them. So of course there's the hypocrisy there, because when you're racist, they'll let you do it. And this is where we are as a country, and it hasn't even been a year yet with this president, and it's only going to be more of it. So when are you going to stand up? When are you going to speak up? When are you going to stand out? When are you going to challenge the racism of the ICE raids? When are you going to challenge the racism of what's happening with the curriculum? When are you going to challenge the hate that's happening across this country? If you're not challenging it, then you must be fine with it. And this is something that you should probably, just accept it. Some people say that when you look at some of these speeches, and again, what I read to you was from a United States Senator from Missouri, Eric Schmidt. Some people say, like, when these people say what they say, when Vance says what he says, when Hegseth says what he says, and Trump does everything that he does, people are like, this is great. This is great. I love it, because now people are not covert with it anymore. They're out in the open with it. They're out there, and they're just letting us know where we stand and where they stand, and so on and so forth. Okay, now what? Now what are we doing? Now somebody in the comments gonna put, oh yeah, that's why we're FBA all day. That's why we're ADOS all day. But what are you doing? You're here in this country. I'm talking to everybody here. I'm talking to white people here. I'm talking to black people, Asian, Latino, indigenous, all of us. How long will we let the racism just continue? How long will we let the country go into decline, and let people who are not smart, who are not brave, who are not competent, who don't have the resume? Look at RFK Jr., right? Look at Hegseth. Look at these individuals and their qualifications. Some of these guys are predators. Some of these guys are accused rapers. Some of these guys have, some child sex offending things going on. Like, these are the guys running the country. Why? Because Trump gave folks enough racism to make them feel like, well, he's gonna take care of them, therefore I'm gonna put him in. And now y'all are finding out as well. He's talking about Chicago's about to find out soon. Many folks across the country are finding out. But these folks who were fine with the racism, and who are basically saying, are finding that they're seeing that their farms and stuff are struggling now and everything, they're still not saying, oh, I wish I voted for the Democrats, or I'm gonna vote Democrat, or I'm gonna vote for independence, or I'm not gonna stick with MAGA, I'm not gonna stick with Trump. They're still riding it out, even as they get prepared to possibly take more handouts from this man, because he's their savior. Like, there's still something there. And this is what Trump tapped into. People call him a genius, a stable genius, and so on and so forth. It's not a genius. It's not a genius to tap into America's history and founding, which was on racism and violence, and tap into it, and to know that there are some people here who are still going to tolerate that if you give them enough of that. As Lyndon Johnson said, if you give white, as long as you can convince the poorest white man he's better than the colored man, he won't realize you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him someone to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. That's just real. It's like, if I predict you'll be wearing shorts in the summer, am I a prophet? No. So when you're racist, they'll let you get away with it. They'll let you do it. And this is why we are where we are. And this is why this is going to continue with the siege of cities by black mayors, run by black mayors, blue states, being attacked, and so on and so forth. If he just attacks enough black and brown life, enough black and brown hate, culture, and also if he attacks enough LGBTQ, if he attacks enough trans, if he attracts, just enough to make you satisfied, you'll be fine with everything else that's happening, even to your own detriment. I saw Mike Brown, head of son of the late great Ron Brown, and he said that, what do you do when you deal with, like, a white farmer who is willing to lose their farm as long as Trump gets to continue with his racist policies and racist ways? Not to mention what so many people who are here, who are working on these farms and communities, who are undocumented, what they actually do for the American economy. Here we are. So that's the question. How much are we going to let racism continue to manifest to destroy this country and tear this country down? How much more do white people have to suffer? White women as well, who majority voted for Trump both times around. Or was it all three elections? I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure about Biden, but definitely when it came to Hillary and Kamala. I hope that at some point there'll be a breaking point that'll happen sooner than later, and that people start actually, in Fred Hampton style, start working towards building coalitions to fight this, so we can build a community where everybody can be celebrated and not tolerated, and we can start working to get this economy going the way it needs to be. But misery loves company, and so many people are comfortable being miserable as long as somebody else is more miserable. And this type of mindset, this type of zero sum game, is going to only make it a lot worse. How long are you going to keep running with the racism in order to be satisfied? Hopefully not long, because this is not sustainable. But I'm realizing some people just don't care as long as other folks don't get ahead. What do y'all think? I'll let me know. Peace.